Yo, what is up, everybody? It is Riley's Redzone here for episode 4 of the Redzone Review podcast.
That's cool.
That is really cool. Who are you?
We have to pay the bills, remember? SeatGeek is not a sponsor of this.
It's not a sponsor yet.
It's not a sponsor.
Hopeful, though. So, I'm joined by another guest today.
Hello.
What is your name?
It's, Carson.
Yeah, you should know him from the Grocery Games videos if you are a longtime viewer. Today, we're going to have a lot of different topics we're talking about. I'm personally wearing a Cam Newton jersey.
I have a Michael Vick jersey.
Just because he's an Eagles fan.
Pretty much it.
So you should know that about Carson. And I am excited for him to be here today because here's a little sneak peek. There's going to be 2 Eagles on today's top 100. So we'll see what he thinks, if they're too high, too low. Quick set, we have the NFL 100 helmet. We got Cam. We got Carson Wentz over there. And then we also have, we have the Shaquille Griffin. And then over to the right, we have the Shaquem over there. But
have you seen that one video of in Madden where Shaquem?
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Yeah, it's a glitch.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, Shaquem, for not literally having a hand on one of it,
that's pretty cool though.
He does really well. So we're gonna be starting our segment today with the top 100 players, number 60 through 51. So here's our thumbnail, and let's get right into the top 100, number 60 through 51. And
oh wait, hold on. Let's give him a clue. Let them try to guess.
Number 60, it's a defensive player. From the AFC North.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
That's pretty much it. And
Marcus Peters.
Nice.
Number 60 for the Baltimore Ravens. He is a playmaker on the defensive end. He had 5 interceptions.
Yes.
Yeah, 5.
Very good. He came up pretty clutch for them.
Yep.
Not in the playoffs, though.
Not in the playoffs.
No.
Never in the playoffs for the Ravens. But I think it was a great trade for them. He is a gambler. He's going to gamble. He's going to he's going to try to get that pick. Sometimes he might guess wrong. But I think you see how many picks he gets, and he's just insane.
He's a playmaker.
Yeah, playmaker on the defensive end. So I think he's instant impact. You could debate between him and Marlon Humphrey. I will say maybe Marlon Humphrey might get more attention from D-backs, but Marcus Peters is going to be making more plays. Number 59. It's a player I've talked about recently on one of my podcasts. It's an offensive player from the NFC North.
Aaron Jones.
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook. He's a very good. He's again playmaker.
But he's wanting a new contract.
Will he get that contract?
I'm hopeful, but I don't want to pay him too much. I don't think he deserves like McCaffrey money. Maybe somewhere in the.
Dak Prescott definitely deserves that $40 million. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I think it's more. Yeah, I think if he can get somewhere in like the David Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley type of range, I would pay him. But his injuries are just very substantial. He is hurt a lot of the time.
But I mean, he had over 1,000 yards last season. Over 13 touchdowns.
Right, that's very good.
You're taking that injury risk for
running back.
Or a running back. I mean, like, you're taking the injury risk for
Dalvin Cook
getting yards and touchdowns.
Right, definitely. And so that's not good to see all of the injuries he's already had at his age. But then, at 58, let's see what Carson thinks.
You can probably guess it.
Let's see what Carson thinks about this one. He's in the thumbnail. He's an offensive player from the NFC East. Carson Wentz.
He's really good.
I want to hear his take on this one.
I mean, I think he's good. Most people will be like, no, he's always injury prone, but
I have him at a top 10 quarterback. Do you think that's fair?
I think that's fair. But in personal opinion, not being biased, I think if I was not
an Eagles fan,
I would still think he's good because he barely throws any interceptions. Like 7 interceptions he's averaged for the past 3 seasons.
Right.
Again, past 2 or 2017, 2018 injuries.
Yeah.
Kind of got him. But still, he's still a very good player. I mean, he throws the ball accurately, has a strong arm. So his wide receivers definitely let him down.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you actually.
It's great that they got rid of Nelson Aguilar because that man could not catch. I mean, did you see the Patriots game?
Yeah.
The Eagles Patriots.
So I'm gonna because as long as we're on the topic and he's an Eagles fan, I want to ask this as an Eagles fan: do you think the drafting of Jalen Hurts is justifiable?
I think it's
because of his injury risk of Carson Wentz.
I think it's kind of smart, but then also very bad because you show him like
you're a little concerned.
Yeah, we're a little concerned, and that might shake his confidence a little bit, or that might make him a better player, and hopefully it makes him a better player.
Yeah.
So it might be a smart move there, but it's kind of bad because it's kind of like, we're trying to force you out for this new young quarterback, and they just paid him.
Right, exactly. Like a year ago maybe or something. Yeah, very true.
But he's still a good player.
Mm-hmm. Number 57, I didn't give him his own segment because I knew we'd be talking about him. It's a defensive player from the AFC West, Chris Jones. This week he has asked for a trade, I believe, or was maybe that he just won't sign his franchise player. He won't play. He just is not going to play under that franchise tag. So he wants to get paid.
I mean, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good. I personally would maybe say he's like the second best defensive tackle, maybe. Behind Aaron Donald, I'd say, maybe. Around there. I mean, he had 9 sacks as a defensive tackle. That's pretty good. So, yeah, he's a great player.
Still a successful season.
Should get paid. I don't think he should be overpaid, sort of, but...
Should be top money, but...
Yeah, I don't think it should be close to $20 million. I don't think so, but maybe in the... You can get up there in the high teens, maybe. Worth it. Number 56, we're going to have an offensive player from
actually, he's really good.
He's really good, especially for fantasy.
Yeah.
The offensive player is from the NFC South, and that is Alvin Kamara.
Now, what I like about him is that he can not only rush the ball, but he also receives them.
Yeah, he's very good at catching the ball from the University of Tennessee.
I mean, maybe he can even throw the ball, You
never know with that offense. He definitely had a down year last year. Yeah. It's very true. Did
he get injured?
I believe he did actually for a little bit, but he only had 797 yards, 5 touchdowns, and they have Latavius Murray there to sort of be that backup type of role. They have that prepared. So definitely he had a down year, but I think he's got to bounce back really well.
I think he's pretty good.
I agree.
I mean, definitely for fantasy, he is probably...
He's a top 5 pick right now, I'm pretty sure.
Probably one of the best. Maybe Saquon Barkley's probably the best running back.
Yeah, it's probably him and McCaffrey are up there. But I think that he's definitely a great fantasy option for all you out there. 55. Also interested to see your opinion about this one. It's an offensive player from the NFC East, and wouldn't you know it's from the Eagles as well. Jason Kelce, the best center in football.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not even debatable now that Travis Frederick retired. It's straight up not debatable. This is the best center in football.
Yeah, he is the best center because he's a good run blocker.
Yep.
He's a good pass blocker. He doesn't allow many sacks.
I think that's just. I think it's almost like that. You can't think of stuff to say about a center, but he just gets it done consistently. Yeah. Nothing wrong with him. He's great at Super Bowl pep talks afterwards. Yes. So.
No, that's Chris Long.
Yeah, but sorry, I was thinking. When he put on the mask for the parade,
that was Lane Johnson.
Shoot, yeah.
Was that him?
I don't know. But
he was that. No, he in the Super Bowl speech he had that like.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I just said it wrong. But best center in the league. Definitely someone people don't talk about, but he deserves recognition. Yeah. Number 54, we have an offensive player
from the AFC West.
Skill position. Keenan Allen.
He's a good wide receiver.
He's very good.
He racks up yards.
Yep, he should be up there.
He's a good deep threat.
Yep, close to 1,200 yards last year. 6 touchdowns. I'll be interested to see whether his progress goes up or down with Rivers leaving. I know that.
Oh, Justin Herbert came in there.
Right, Herbert I think likes to chuck it deep. I don't necessarily. Right, that might be good for him. I don't love Herbert's style of play, but
is it too risky?
It's too risky in my opinion. Okay. He makes you some games. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point if he plays, he will throw at least 6 picks in a game. Someday he might, but one day he might throw 6 touchdowns. He's just very inconsistent in my opinion.
I think if he can develop.
Yep.
If he can get more consistent. Correct. I mean, like Kyler Murray, he's really good because I guess not be too risky with the ball.
Right. For me, unfortunately, I think right now he more compares to a Mitchell Trubisky, a Blaine Gabbert, that type of player, those are not good. I think he's that prototypical size player.
I think he still could be like maybe
if he develops, he could be pretty good.
Yeah, like a Patrick Mahomes-esque.
Notice the esque. Not quite, but somewhere.
He's because I think he's the best quarterback in the league.
Right.
No, sorry, Dakota Prescott actually is.
But
I'm kidding.
yeah, but Keenan Allen is, I think, also underrated. So at 53, we're gonna have a defensive player in the secondary
in the AFC East.
AFC East.
One of the weakest divisions. Actually, no.
Well,
NFC East is the weakest.
Yeah. But
Devin McCourty.
Devin McCourty.
He's a good.
Yeah, he's played a lot of years.
He's a good DB.
Good DB.
Out of
5 picks last year. Correct. Yeah. Probably the best Rutgers has ever been. Mm-hmm. But 5 picks last year.
It's makes plays.
That's pretty good as a safety. That's
gets
pretty
turnovers.
Decent. Gets turnovers, which is what you need. And I think he'll sort of be a captain for that defense, especially with all the mentors, Brady and Gronk and all those people leaving.
Yeah.
Totally. So I think that he's it's underrated. Mm-hmm. 52. This is a player that I'd say is almost the opposite.
I think he's probably one of the best.
He is. I do
DBs
think he's
in the league.
Yeah, but he's definitely, I think, gotten a lot of buzz, and I don't know if all of it's deserved, but I think once they made the trade, this next player who's a DB in the AFC North, Minkah Fitzpatrick,
I think he's good.
I do too. I think he just needed to get out of the situation in Miami.
In Miami, yeah.
And I think they weren't using him correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a ball hawk, in my opinion.
Yeah. Because, in Pittsburgh, I think for 2 or 3 straight games, he got an interception.
For sure, yeah. He had 5 in total last year, and I don't even know if he got one for the Dolphins, maybe 1 or 2. But, yeah, he was a playmaker, and honestly nearly got them to the playoffs. They were 1 game short. If it was the new format, they would have gotten in with 7 teams. So, definitely a playmaker.
if Big Ben didn't get injured.
Right,
though,
Big Ben did. They did that, yeah. They did that without Roethlisberger, which is crazy. But, yeah, so I think he definitely revolutionized their defense. Him and T.J. Watt, those are pretty scary right there. So they're going to be really good.
That's a good defense.
And
definitely you could pick that up in the
for fantasy.
That's probably one of the best defenses.
Probably
with TJ and Minkah.
Yeah, totally. And I think
do they still have Joe Hayden?
Yes, they do. They do on the back end. And then 51 is another player from the AFC North, but it's an offensive player on the offensive line. It's Ronnie Stanley. So
I don't know much about him.
You don't know much about him. I'm a Notre Dame fan, which this is not biased of Notre Dame. He was one of the top tackles last season on a great offense, which is the Ravens. And yeah, I think he's really developing. He was the top 10 pick, but he's getting it done. Yeah, a couple years ago, I think 2018. No, yeah, it might have been 2017. I think actually maybe. But I think he's really developing quickly. Mm-hmm. And with the loss of Marshall Yanda, I think that he'll still make up for it, I think he's really good on the offensive line. So that's going to do it for our top 100 segment.
For right now.
For right now. This one's going to be a bit more open if you want to give some more input.
Yeah.
Cameron Newton has signed with the New England Patriots.
I feel like that's a big acquisition. It opens up the offense because with Tom Brady, you couldn't really
there's
scramble.
No running. Totally.
He's just a pocket passer.
Yep.
And I think he's a good player.
Yep.
When he's not hurt.
That's a very good point. I mean, sort of what I think is it's a low risk, high reward signing. What I have written down too is he's not even guaranteed a roster spot. If the Patriots bring him in and his shoulder is somehow just so whacked up.
Who else? I
I think he is the best quarterback, but if his shoulder is so bad he can't even throw a football, they can just get rid of him and he's fine. But then at the same time, they might have a Super Bowl MVP type of quarterback there. I mean, I can definitely say his throwing mechanics have definitely changed. He now tends to throw more with his upper body and his shoulders, which is where he's been hurt, instead of using his legs, because he was hurt last year. When you're trying to throw, you should step into it, type of thing.
He hasn't been doing that.
He hasn't been doing it. He's throwing it, almost tilted, first of all, and then he's,
So a lot of overthrows.
Or underthrows
because
relying all on shoulder.
When you're trying to, I play baseball and everything.
Right,
and
exactly.
I
As a baseball player,
you want to lead with your your
completely
your side and use your feet to drive the ball.
Exactly.
But if he's tilting up his shoulders, that's going to cause a lot of overthrows.
He's relying. He's relying on the arm.
He's going to throw it over wide receivers into safeties, cornerbacks.
Right. He is not only you're going to overthrow it or you're going to underthrow it because you can't really pinpoint it. He's just chucking it up.
Or
almost.
You're going to throw it behind.
Exactly.
And then it's right to a cornerback.
Yep, exactly. It's just
underthrowing it to a linebacker, overthrow to safety.
I will say if there's any spot that can capitalize on its talent, it's New England. But honestly,
I don't know. That place is good because, he developed. Tom Brady,
Right.
6th-round pick.
Right.
Developed, but he needs to have the work ethic.
Definitely. And I think you got to see how his shoulder's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, honestly, I'm looking as it seems the NFL, first of all, cut it down to 2 preseason games. Now might even be trying to cut it down to 0. I think that being able to see him, that might not be good for his development. I think the Patriots need to see.
He's still 31.
Because if you're going into week 1 not knowing what Cam's shoulder's like because you haven't seen him, honestly, I think they go in with Stidham or Hoyer. If they don't get any practice or anything, that's what would happen. But that's going to be...
that would be kind of a bad move.
Yeah.
I hope that Cam Newton's shoulder's okay.
Yep, definitely.
But, if it's not okay, the Patriots might not be in the playoffs.
Right, they definitely
because,
might not be.
That's going to be the first time since Brady got hurt.
Yep.
Brian, if you really put it, Brian Hoyer, Jarrett Stidham,
right,
I don't
not
know.
good.
They could prove
They did it with
wrong.
Matt Castle, but I think that team was so good. The previous year they were undefeated. Yeah, 16-0.
Well,
so
18-1.
Yeah, so the greatest supporting.
They had Randy Moss,
right,
Wes
exactly.
Welker.
Totally.
They had a great offensive line.
Exactly.
Now it's kind of diminished.
Right.
Tom Brady. His wide receivers from 2018, they were still kind of not. They weren't really that good.
Right.
So he kind of led that team.
Yeah, totally. So, the next is going to be our biggest segment of the day, which is we're going to be predicting some college football. Obviously, hoping college football happens.
It probably will.
And so I'm hoping to at least cover 6 conferences, but today we're going to be covering probably the lowest of them all, but the American Athletic Conference, a.k.a. the AAC, the American.
Honestly, this is probably one of the best. This is probably the best Group 5.
Yep, I would say I almost it's the best group of 5, no doubt. But then you've almost got your
real quick. We should rank
the
worst to best. What's it called? The top 5.
Oh yeah, the conferences.
Yeah,
if you want to.
we could.
Sure. Let's just jump on. Yeah. So that's where I almost think that you can consider the American group of 6. I think. The Power 6.
Yeah, the Power 6. I think. Yeah, the AAC has some very good.
Yep, I think you look at UCF, Memphis, Cincy, and SMU. I think could all compete. They're better than Rutgers. Let's get that out of the way. They're better than Rutgers.
Okay, so I think the 2 worst conferences.
Yeah.
It might. Oh shoot! Who are the? So it's Big 10.
It's Big 10, Big 12.
Big 10, Big 12, SEC, ACC,
and Pac-12.
Pac-12, okay.
I think...
Well, comparing them to Pac-12 and ACC...
I think Pac-12 is not necessarily very top-heavy. They don't have many top teams, but they're very consistent.
Yeah. So I would say
their worst is probably Oregon State. And they're not always that bad.
Mm-hmm.
ACC's
I would say the worst conference has to be the ACC.
I would say so. It's very top-heavy. You've got Clemson, and then sometimes Miami or Florida State, and then besides that, it's nothing.
Yeah. And then I'd say the third worst is probably Big 12.
Yeah, you look at...
Because, if you think about
Kansas is awful. They're never good.
Look at it. If you think about it, every single one of their defenses is garbage.
Yep. Terrible.
You literally have to be a mediocre defensive player to be good in the Big 12.
Definitely. And then SEC probably is the best, honestly.
Yeah, I would say that. And then Big 10.
And then Big 10, I think they are pretty consistent except for Rutgers. Illinois is not very good in my opinion. But besides that, I'd say they're pretty strong.
Yeah,
I would 10 say, teams. 12 that are decent. So, and then Purdue is okay, I guess.
They
same
can,
with Indiana.
Yeah,
it's those.
They can sometimes explode, but
right.
I would say 9 teams are usually really consistent.
For sure. Now, today we're going to predict the American. And here's what I'm going to note.
The American
Conference. So, you've got your top teams. You've got UCF, you've got Memphis, you've got Cincy, and you've got SMU. You'll see what I have them ranked. Here's a quick note. When I started doing these, I started on just paper, right? And what I sort of did was I predicted how many games I thought they'd for sure win. And then what I did is I sort of, give or take, I'd assume, okay, they're going to win one game they're supposed to lose, and then they might lose a game they're supposed to win. So I add one game to there, or sometimes the same if I am a little. But then I started going through, and I don't think it'd be very fun. The way I have my key is it's green for W's, red for L, and then every once in a while you'll see a little dash
for tie?
For or white, and I'll tell you what that sort of means.
It might be like it's too close to call.
Right, and at the beginning, or almost like, let's say 2 games have a dash. That means I think they win one of them, but I'm not going to say which one it is. And at the beginning, I had too many dashes, and I thought that just wouldn't be a fun video, so I'm going to make it a little bit bolder. Sure, if I have one team predicted 3-9, they surely could go 4-8, but I don't think they're going to go 5 or 7 or above, you know. But so with that being said, we're going to go alphabetically. So starting with Cincinnati.
They are a good team. I mean, last year, I think they lost to, Memphis is probably second best.
They were very good. They did lose their running back, I believe, but they're very good.
Who did they play? They made it to?
Yeah, they made it to a pretty good bowl game. So basically, their quarterback is Desmond Ridder. He's okay. I mean, he's not great, but he's there. He's not terrible. Yeah. But looking at their schedule, okay, so I did put a little bit of consideration into the home or away, but that might not be a thing if
Nebraska. I think Nebraska's kind of an overrated
team. They
team.
are definitely, but I do think that
Adrian Martinez. I think he's a dart. I mean, people are saying that he could be a Heisman.
They've been saying that for 2 years though.
But I don't think
people said that about him as a freshman.
But I don't think he's that good.
Right, I put him in my top 25, but that was a struggle. I nearly didn't. So I put them as an L though because it's on the road against a big time team. But I agree, Nebraska is very overrated.
And I think he can. I think he's only a running. I mean, he might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so you're starting. Austin, PA is an easy dub. Western Michigan actually is okay as a group of 5 team, but I think that since he gets it done, easy win over Miami, Ohio. So I'm calling it an L over Nebraska, but you said, that could be close. I had to count him as an L because I don't think that.
But I mean, those Nebraska fans though, they come out for their team.
Right. So I don't think 11-1.
Like if they play there, it's gonna be loud.
Definitely, if they do
10-2 or 11-1.
Right. That's right. Because I was definitely thinking that if I gave them 11-1, I didn't think that was necessarily possible because they'll lose one of these games. Yeah. But USF is not that good this year. Tulsa's not that good.
Win.
SMU's a tough game, and Memphis. Those
honestly,
2 are tough
SMU,
games.
I think they could swing from bad, so 3-9.
Yep.
4-7 to
with Shane
maybe
Buechele.
Even 10-2, 11-1.
Yep, Shane Buechele. You'll see what happened later, but definitely I like Shane Buechele a lot
because they have a pretty good team.
Yep, and then Houston I think is going to be a mid-range team. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be tough, but I think they can do it.
Still
East Carolina's an easy win.
UCF is probably going to be their toughest matchup.
Yeah, probably their toughest. Yeah, probably. And then Temple. You never know if it's the final week, but I think it's an easy win. So I have the Bearcats going 10-2, which is tied for first in this conference. Yes. Then, at number 2, we're going to cover East Carolina.
3-9.
3-9. I do not think they're very good. Basically,
I mean, they have a medium record. It's not too tough, but they could probably maybe if they play 5-7. But
I'm gonna say this. Nobody remembers this, but 3 years ago, Gardner Minshew was at East Carolina.
That's true.
That's crazy. I remember I was gonna make a video like this 2 years ago, predicting Gardner Minshew, and I realized, oh shoot, he's not there anymore. He was gonna go to Bama, and then obviously he went to Washington State. But that's crazy to think he was there. They have not been good since Zay Jones was at East Carolina. He was a beast in college. But he was a wide receiver. Okay. But he has not done anything in the NFL. But East Carolina, they never are good at home field. This is one of the worst teams in the conference, in my opinion. So let's break down their schedule.
So Marshall probably.
I mean, they could win, but I think they're a pretty good group of 5 team. And honestly, East Carolina, like I was sort of saying, the American's better than the MAC. Yes. But I could see East Carolina because they're just so bad in this conference losing. Which is also, I'm going to note, there's no divisions in the American Conference because UConn...
They probably just take the top 2 teams.
Right, because UConn left. They left
don't have any divisions.
So they don't have any divisions until they add teams.
South Carolina...
That's an L
for
sure.
Probably an easy...
SEC, L.
That's a... Yeah.
Okay, Norfolk State, if you lose, I'm very sorry. You should be out of FBS football. Do not lose that game.
Even if they play Vanderbilt,
right,
one of the worst teams in the SEC, they're
getting killed. Then UCF is one of the best teams in this conference. So that's an
UCF.
L. Georgia State actually is going to be a very close game.
They could win that.
They could win the one though, so I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. But then, so this is where the first dash comes in.
Okay, I would say they beat UCF and then lose to Tulsa.
USF, yeah.
Yeah, USF.
So that's where I have the dashes. That means I think that they will win one of those two games, either between USF and Tulsa. They will win it because I believe this conference is very grouped. You've got your top two teams are very grouped, and then your next two teams are very grouped. Then you have your mid-range bowl teams, and then your bottom-of-the-barrel teams are all in groups. So I believe that USF, Tulsa, and East Carolina are all very close in groups. So that's why, and I was going to say, if one's at home and one's on the road, I'll give a win L. But they're both on the road, so I gave them a split, so they'll win one of those games and lose it. So that's a third win. Then they lose the rest of the way. Navy, not great, but they're better than ECU. Yes. Tulane might be a bowl-eligible team, better than ECU. Cincinnati's one of the best teams. Really Temple on the road's going to be tough, and then SMU's one of them.
They could win that one,
they could win.
But,
I think
SMU could swing 10-2, 11-1, down to...
Yeah, so definitely. So I have them going 3-9. So not very good at all. Mm-hmm. Then we have the Houston Cougars. This is one of them.
Like you said, they were a group team. They're probably in that medium.
Yep, I think the loss of De'Aaron King is huge. They had him 2 years ago. He threw 36 touchdowns and only had 6 picks, and that was huge for them. And then they went the rest of the year without him last year, but that was a big L. And overall, like I said when I was originally doing this, I gave him an extra win, so that made it 6 wins. So they'd be bowl eligible, but then going over this is what happened. Rice should be an easy win. Washington State should be a big L. Memphis, I think, is also an L.
Yeah, that's a huge L.
North
Texas
should be a win. If you lose them, they're a Conference USA team. They should win. This is where
Tulane.
I think that Houston, Navy, and Tulane are all very close. So I think
Wait, is Navy in the AAA? No,
they're in the American here. They're so you could definitely see it where Navy wins because they're at home. I do think though Houston's better than Navy, but the road wins. So I think they win one of them. So we count that as a win on one of them. I think BYU is going to be a great game. I think that's going to be a really close one, but I have them losing to BYU on the road. But that's very close. Yeah. Navy, like I said,
could win,
but might be on the road. UCF and Cincinnati, those are the two best teams in the conference. That's 2 L's. USF, I think they can pull the win over them. And then SMU, I think once again the L there. And then Tulsa is a win. I think they're in the bottom 3. Tulsa is. So Houston goes 5-7, which is tied for 7th out of 11.
I mean, they could make a bowl game. But
could, very well could. But I think they have a decent receiver. Yeah. But their quarterback is just not good because they lost De'Aaron King. So next we are going to have the Memphis Tigers. Yes. One of the best teams.
Probably, yeah. Honestly, I think that UCF and Memphis and Cincinnati should move up.
Yep, I think they're very big. I think Memphis is a great Big 12 candidate, maybe. Yeah. Same with SMU.
And
UCF would have
UCF
to go
south. Go ACC.
Probably. But Memphis is very good. I like their quarterback. They've had really consistent quarterbacks the past few years. They had it was Paxton Lynch, and then they had Riley Ferguson, and then now they have Brady White, who's very good. I had him in my top 20 of my college football. Really quick, I gotta plug this. Top 25 college football quarterbacks, which if you haven't watched, you should already, you should watch that.
Honestly, Paxton Lynch didn't really get a shot in the NFL.
Totally, I agree. But so that shows, though, I think Memphis produces good quarterbacks. But looking at their schedule here, Arkansas State should be a win.
Yes.
Similar, like with the Nebraska game, I think that there's a chance Memphis is better than Purdue.
Big Ten has some very good crowds, even for...
That's what I'm saying.
Rutgers, not really.
Not really, but that's what I'm sort of saying.
But if it's a big game, they will come out.
Right, that's where there's a good chance that Memphis is better than Purdue, not just record-wise, but overall as a team. But I think the road factor
is going to be tough.
Is going to be the L. I think that it's very rare where a group of 5 team beats Big Ten, Power 5 school, and sometimes it happens. But I think that's when when UCF plays Georgia Tech, they're some of the worst in the ACC. Yeah, then that type of thing. Or Oregon State has lost before.
But then again, UCF, Memphis, Cincinnati,
they're the top teams. They're the only ones.
They should probably move up into.
They should be. But then, so I have them going on a win streak here with Houston, and then they have an out-of-conference game against Texas San Antonio, so that's a win. I have them beating SMU in this case, but then I have them losing to UCF.
Because obviously
UCF is one of the best colleges in this conference.
Temple, that should be a rather easy win.
Cincy's an L.
Yeah.
And then I have them carrying it out. Who even is Tennessee Martin? Just get the win. If they lose, that's bad. Then so I think the rest of the way they can just take it out.
And then it's just a win every yeah.
Like I said, I think the biggest sneaky games in college football every year are those Week 12 rivalry games at the end of the year. When the worst team is at home, there's a chance that they can pull the upset. That happens a lot of times, I feel like, because then there's that motivation. Oh, I'm going to knock them out of the conference championship game. Oh, I'm going to knock them out of a bowl game type of things.
Knock them out of a good bowl game.
Right,
Send
exactly.
them down to,
Yeah, so I think...
The Birmingham Bowl.
Yeah, that type of thing. So Memphis, 9-3, very good. Then you have Navy, who, their offense, by the way, they just don't pass. They're very, they're that option, Georgia Tech type of style.
Triple option.
Yep, triple option. They were supposed to start in Dublin, Ireland, against Notre Dame.
Ooh.
They're going to lose no matter what, and I'm a Notre Dame fan, but they're going to lose.
That's Notre Dame.
Take the L, which I will say, though, Navy is probably the most underrated school against Notre Dame. Notre Dame plays them hard. Navy plays them hard, and sometimes it's very close to losing. They're very sneaky against Notre Dame, but I think that Notre Dame gets the win.
Top 10.
And then this is probably the most difficult one, Louisiana. They're in the Sun Belt. They're in the worst conference, but they're probably the best. With the UG Panthers. Yeah, they're probably the top 2 Sun Belt teams. I think the sources, I think they could very well at least get 10 wins. So I had them losing. It's very close, though. That's a very close game. They could definitely win that. I have them splitting Tulane and Air Force. And those are not in the same conference, but Air Force is up there.
Mountain West, right?
Yeah. Mountain West, but I think that Navy's the bigger school, even though Air Force will probably have a better record. So that's a close one, and same with Tulane, same tier-ish. Temple, though, that's a win. East Carolina's an easy win. And then they split it with Houston, too. I say that they for sure win 1. Maybe they could win 2 of those 3 games. Then we have SMU L. That's an L. Tulsa's a win. Memphis is a loss. And then they beat South Florida. And then Army's going to be not as close this year. Probably. It has been. Yeah. But Army lost their quarterback. And I think that...
To the Army.
Yeah, but technically. But
technically, yeah.
But yeah, so I think that... overall, that they beat Army, but it might be very close. It's always close every year. That's one of the best games of the season.
It is the end of rivalry week.
Right, so, exactly. Then we have SMU. Like I said, here's the underrated. I have them could be a 10 or 11, but I have them beating Texas State, Stephen F. Austin, and North Texas. That's a very easy out of conference schedule. Very easy. Yeah. So those should all be wins.
TCU
is a tough one.
Yeah,
they're in the Big 12. So I think they get.
So their defense, SMU, they have a really good offense.
They could definitely fire them up. With the Shane Buechele. I think that could definitely, you're right, be a very underrated game. But I think they lose to Memphis. They beat Tulane. Then they lose to Cincy. And then they go the rest of the way. Those are all teams that will be 6 wins or less. So they carry out.
So that's an easy...
They run the table. They win the rest of the games. So, like I said, Shane Buechele, although he wasn't on my top 25 list, I'm growing on him. Maybe he should be now. But he definitely is a very good quarterback. Yeah. Then we have Temple. Every single year, they're just average. Yeah. At the most, they're always between 4 and maybe 7 wins every year. So, I have them going 5 and 7, but once again, it's one of those teams, maybe they go 6-6 and get a bowl game. They start off against Miami. That's an L.
That's a pretty
big
game.
L. That's a big school on the road. That's an L.
Miami they're coming back now.
Right. With De'Aaron King, I think they're going to be really good this season. Then I have Idaho. They're not even in FBS anymore.
No,
get out of
FCS,
here.
Yeah.
But then,
Rutgers,
wait, what do you feel like? I think they beat Rutgers.
That's an easy win.
I think they beat Rutgers. And that's just sad. The Big Ten needs to kick Rutgers out of there any moment.
Well, no, basketball.
Yeah, but still, kick them out. I don't.
They can. I don't care. They can kick out the football team.
Yeah, kick out the football team. Go get somebody else in there.
Well, they did play in the.
Bring in Iowa State. Bring in North Dakota. Bring in Notre Dame. Bring in somebody. Get Rutgers out of there.
Okay.
Get them out.
Okay,
kick them out.
I think Notre Dame should be in the Big Ten.
Kick them out. Yes,
they should be in the Big Ten.
I think the problem with them though is honestly whether they're willing. But at the same time, if they're willing to go in basketball, hockey, all the other sports.
But they're I think ACC.
Yeah, they're ACC in basketball, but then they're Big Ten in hockey.
So
I don't know why they should be.
They can keep. So I think You can probably just keep the basketball ACC because Big Ten.
I would be surprised.
I mean, well, no.
That's why I think Notre Dame's more likely to join the ACC because they currently play a lot more ACC teams than they do Big Ten seeds. So,
but still,
it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, so I have Temple getting the upset. Technically, I mean, bigger school, but not really.
Good. They're still really bad.
And then they lose to Navy on the road, but then they beat UMass.
Well,
who some magazines have as the worst team in the FBS.
I think they are because they're just bad.
I've been to 2 Notre Dame games in my life, and I went to them playing BYU in 2012, and they won like 17-7, I believe. But then I watched them play UMass. Beat them 63-28. Oh. Had the backup quarterback get in there.
Didn't they have the third string in there?
Yeah, they might have even at the time. It was Brandon Wimbush who ended up being at UCF, but he started as like a second or third string. But USF get the win, and then you have a big stretch.
Of just
for
L's.
Sure, 3 out of 4 will be L's. Tulane could be close, but Memphis, SMU, and UCF
I think
are
they
L's.
could win against Tulane.
They could, but those 3 are L's. Then East Carolina's a dub, and then we have Cincy.
I mean, they have to play. They have to play 4 out of the 4 best teams in that conference.
Right. Exactly. That's a really tough stretch to end the season. Then we have the Tulane Green Wave. Exactly. They're just average. They're average. So they beat Southeastern Louisiana. Please beat them.
That'd be funny if they don't.
Exactly. Then Northwestern, I think they lose.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Northwestern isn't really as
They're
good.
not great, but
they
I think
only won the Big Ten West because they went,
Yeah, that one time, yeah.
Because,
2 years ago.
Wisconsin was...
And they had Clayton Thor.
7-6. Minnesota was 7-6.
Yep, so, yeah.
They're not great. They got wrecked by
But I think on the road they lose. Mm-hmm. And then they also have to play Mississippi State. Way to go, Tulane, for scheduling tough opponents, except that's going to backfire because you're going to lose to both of them. Mm-hmm. So take that. But, just kidding. I like Tulane. They're actually cool colors and stuff like that. But Navy and Houston, I think they split them.
I think
one of those games. They'll win and one of them
they'll lose.
I
think they could beat maybe both of them.
Mm-hmm, they could. Yeah. They get on fire. Tulane is a very hot streak type of team. If they get on fire, they're going to keep going. But then they have to play SMU and UCF. That's
back-to-back weeks.
But then, I'm going 4 straight.
They have to play some of the easiest teams.
4 straight because they got it. Temple, East Carolina, Army, Tulsa.
And then they have to play some of the worst teams in the conference.
Yep, and then you have Memphis. So I think they could get 6, maybe even 7 wins. Mm-hmm. So that's why I have for Tulane. Next, we have Tulsa.
And it's
Get that out of here.
Yeah, it's just loss after loss. I mean, they have a couple of wins.
This is how sad it is. I have them splitting games between a MAC team and a Sunbelt team. I don't even know if they'll beat them. That's how sad it is.
Yeah, so they
I
might
have
go...
them splitting between Toledo and Arkansas State.
That's
not good.
Not good.
And they're definitely going to lose to Oklahoma State. And they'll definitely beat Northwestern State. Northwestern State.
Just get that off the screen. Just get it off.
Yep. Well,
just throw it in the garbage.
Okay, but then they lose to those 2, and then they beat USF and East Carolina.
I think
those are close. Those could be
those are
L's.
pretty close. Yeah.
Yep, and then definitely lose in the last 4.
Oh, yeah.
But unless there's an upset game. Mm-hmm. Final 2.
UCF. Yes.
Dylan Gabriel.
One of the probably a good draft prospect.
Yeah, probably he's going to be a sophomore, which obviously sad what happened to Mackenzie Milton. I don't know if he might be able to play. I don't know what his leg situation is, but he would have been a top prospect.
Did he get injured last year?
2 years ago. Yeah, it was terrible. He nearly had to cut his leg, I think. But
anyways, North Carolina, I think they could.
That's close. They could.
Because they're probably. I mean, they're one of the probably worst in the ACC.
Definitely, I do think their quarterback though very good.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Used to be Sam Howell, which maybe I should have rated higher. I ranked him at 11, and people were not happy in the comments. But you know, I think that
and then you got Florida Independent University,
International University. But then, I've got him on a hot streak here, out of conference. Like I said, if there's one team, they scheduled the Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech is the worst team in the ACC,
and they definitely
could win that. Yeah, definitely, I think they do. But then East Carolina, Tulsa, and I have them beating Memphis, but that's a close game. Those games are always close between those 2. And then Tulane, Houston, Florida A&M,
I think they
Temple.
could win against Cincinnati.
They could. They definitely. Which actually, I think I had them beating Cincinnati in the Cincinnati slide, but I just had to find another L for them because I think they don't get 11. I think they go 10-2, But
I would say they could. I would say they would lose to Memphis.
Maybe. Yeah, that's very realistic. I could see that happening for sure. So then we've got them being first. USF, which for a few years was one of my favorite teams, but that was when they had Quentin Flowers, which you've probably never heard of. But he basically was a player that I really liked in college, but then he had to switch to running back to even have a chance in the NFL, and now I think he's a free agent. So that didn't work out. But
I think
so that was when they hired Charlie Strong from Texas, and yeah, they've just fallen off. They've not been the same since. At that point, they had a great quarterback, a great running back, a few good receivers. They had a defensive tackle who went to they had one go to the Eagles, Bruce Hector, and then they had one go to the Falcons, Deidre Snap. But so I like USF, but they've not been the same for a few years, and definitely I wanted to give more wins, but I seriously couldn't.
I don't think they'll be good for a rather long time.
Nope. And I think that Charlie Strong is a coach that is good for win now. I remember 3 years ago at the time, they competed with UCF in that final game. They only lost by 6. The final score was like 48-42. They nearly won the game, but that was one of the greatest games to watch that season. The war on I-4, but they've fallen off. You're losing to Texas. You're losing to Texas. They're beating Bethune-Cookman, but then I have them splitting once again out of conference games. They could win both of them, which then that gets them to 4 or 5 wins.
Honestly, I think Texas. I think they're going to be a mediocre team.
Yeah, they're overrated, but Nevada, FAU, they could win very easily, but at the same time, those are good Group of 5 teams. Then they'll definitely lose to East Carolina, but then they'll win against East Carolina, lose to Cincinnati. Then you have a loss to Temple, Tulsa, Memphis, Houston, Navy, and UCF. Just not good.
But they could win.
This team.
I mean, like you said, in those rivalry weeks, they might want to. They definitely could play them hard.
Definitely. They definitely could. But, yeah, so that's going to do it for USF. So I didn't do, like, a prediction, but so then in this case it would be Cincinnati versus UCF for the championship. I think UCF wins it. What do you think? Who do you think is the best team in this conference?
Yeah, UCF is easily the best.
Yeah, so to conclude, it would be Cincy versus UCF, and I think UCF wins. And like we talked about, we can talk again, I think it was cool to see, like you said, definitely there's a lot of candidates in this conference for joining a different conference. I definitely could see Memphis going to the Big 12. I could see SMU Big 12 maybe, because they need 2 more teams to even have 12. They only have 10 right now. Then you've got, I think UCF would have to go to the ACC or SEC, which neither of those I don't think will be open. And then you could see.
I mean, Cincinnati might go to the Big Ten.
Could maybe
because they're in
the Midwest area.
Midwest.
Something like that.
I don't think Ohio's in the Midwest area because it's a little farther.
It's a little more east.
Yeah.
It's like the Midwest East.
Yeah.
I think you could go with them, Penn State, Ohio State, that type of thing.
I think that'd be a good. Rivalry Cincinnati, decent. Ohio State.
Yeah, that could be a good one.
State battle.
So that's gonna do it for today's episode. Let me know what you thought of the predictions. I'm thinking I might do ACC next. And then you'll probably want your input as a Minnesota fan on Big Ten. He loves the Big Ten. But also, I'm going to try to be messaging some NFL players and former. I tried messaging a lot of them on Twitter. And not current ones, but, ones that should be responding. But none of them did. So I'm going to try it on Instagram and see if I can get any. But I'm trying to get on also other guests. But it's been nice to get a few guests alongside me. But definitely, and maybe we can talk a little bit about, currently we are working out what will happen for grocery games, which if you're a long-time viewer, that's one of our favorite things that happen. So if all things go as planned, we will have something for you guys.
In the summer, yes.
In the summer. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and that is episode 4 of the Redzone Review Podcast.